Superman and Lois, Season 4, Episode 8. We are reaching the climactic ending, folks. We set up a bunch of stuff for the finale that we're probably going to get to in the next couple episodes. I genuinely don't know if we're going to do, like, the big wrap-up next week, and then, like, the denouement stuff that we do, like, after the end to, like, give you proper closure will be all of the finale. Who's to say? We're kind of geared up for, like, Lex Luthor doing something, but aside from that, I mean, we kind of, like, tied up every other plot line. Some people no longer have weapons, some people no longer have suits, some people are probably not going to have their powers forever. That's what this episode did. We're really setting up, it's going to be John and Jordan as the primary heroes. We saw the concept art, it's coming, right? Fun episode, don't know if I loved it as much as, like, other episodes. I think coming off the high of last week, this one really focused on, like, other angles. Like, that one was all about Clark. This one's more like, let's do stuff for Lois. Finally, we bring up Lois's cancer subplot. That's back. She is fully on the path to healing now. It's completely gone from her body, which, yeah, you know, like, we don't need to spend the last 3 episodes dealing with that. Let's get it out of here. So her main plot line becomes dealing with Lex, who goes onto a talk show to slam Lois and the things she's done, which is a good play. Like, this episode kind of solidifies that Lex and Amanda are a Metropolis power couple who are going to work together and kiss. They hold hands. That's kind of cool. They do kiss and they hold hands. So they're officially, like, a thing now. Lex also shaved his beard. So Michael is literally Lex now. He looks great. Like, I know we were getting to that point. Like, we had to, like, rehabilitate, like, the criminal who was that and, like, get him to, like, the stance of, like, being this character. But he looks so good. He looks so good. Like, big, imposing, and powerful. Like, that's what I want from, like, a mature Lex Luthor. I really dig that. He looked really incredible. And this entire episode is kind of, like, centered around, like, going on a TV show, a news show, with Tom Cavanaugh, who is, yes, returning, somehow one of, like, the largest staples of a character in all of, like, the CW adjacent universes, has appeared in so much stuff. He is back. He is back on this, playing a character he has yet to play. He's played a lot of characters in the CW, but here he is as Gordon Godfrey. Yes, Gordon Godfrey makes his, like, appearance on this show. I don't think we're going to tie it into the New Gods stuff because we have 2 episodes left, but we have a character from Jack Kirby's creation here doing a thing. And he's less like Alex Jonesy than I thought they would, like, go for the angle of, like, slandering people to work with, like, Lex. He's, I don't know, like, kind of neutral in a lot of stuff. Like, he's an asshole, which is apparent, but he's not, like, fully in the camp of Lex, which I appreciate. I think there could have easily been, like, make him, like, the opposite pundit to what we saw from, like, Olsen last week. But they didn't really go for that. He's just more like a daytime guy who's talking loud and has, like, all these opinions. It's pretty cool. That's what you should use. I'm glad we use, like, a character that exists in, like, this world for, like, the talk show stuff, as opposed to creating somebody new. So I'm fine with that. And the entire time, Lex is, like, in his house being like, yeah, Lois locked me away. She knew the truth, but it's, like, better if you send away a billionaire than, like, the actual person who committed these crimes. He literally threatens Lois, like, come on the show for, like, the evening edition. And Clark's like, don't. This is clearly just setting you up. He's baiting you into coming on the show. But Lois goes, it's the best chance we got. There's no other way to get into this. So Lois is going to come on the show. They're going to have a debate, which is good. Like, that's what you want in this situation. I've said it before. I think one of the smartest things that the show has done with Lex Luthor is make him primarily connected to Lois Lane. He doesn't really, like, care about Superman. Like, he cares, but he's more in, like, the camp of, I'm going to have to deal with him to deal with Lois. And I think the whole angle of, like, them sitting down, you know, trading barbs is really impressive. And she brings up his daughter, and he's like, you wouldn't go that far, would you? It's great. It's really great. Very clever. Very clever use of those characters. Like, the side plot for this episode, there's, like, 2 of them. There's the stuff going on with the boys, which is now that they're celebrities and famous, they can't have a moment's peace, which is kind of cool. They make, like, 3 references to Jamie Kennedy in this episode. We don't see Jamie Kennedy appear, but he's, like, the first, like, celebrity who follows them on social media. And I'm like, where is that reference coming from? Because I know who Jamie Kennedy is. Because I do this. I talk about stuff like this. I'm aware of Jamie Kennedy. What has Jamie Kennedy done that would have Jordan and John know who he is? What is that a reference to? Why would they care? That's very strange. It just really weirded me out. I'm like, that's such a specific guy who we know is like not of the ilk of this generation. It's very strange. But the whole new celebrity thing is more irritating for Candace, John's girlfriend, and she wants to break up with him, literally through text, like, leave me alone, please. So they go to talk to her. Like, what's up? Can we work through this? Can we figure out what the problem is and get through it? She's been getting harassed. And that is a really cool angle that they don't spend a lot of time, like, developing. It was just more like a news reporter came up to her, was like, we'll give you a lot of money if you tell us, like, what it means to, like, be dating a superhero, you know? That kind of thing. But she doesn't. They resolve it in, like, a very quick way. Which I get, like I guess we're saying this is like his forever love, his Lois. Which we have to, because these guys can only have one love, and this is a conversation we don't need to get into. I just want to bring it up. One of my main criticisms with like comic book narrative and live action is that the characters are only allowed to have one love interest, because the idea of them existing for 60 years and dating more than one person is crazy. And I guess we're saying Candace is that for John or whatever. I don't know. Maybe Jordan will find new love because it's not Sarah. Who's to say? The other plot is with the irons. They return. Natalie is just kind of like exhausted, burning the candle at both ends. She's like, I can't keep it up like this anymore. I kind of want to just relax. And it's in like the idea that she's only kind of like doing this, working on this project because her grandfather said she should. And she wants to honor his dying wish. And John Henry's like, go have fun with the boys. We'll take a minute to relax. But first, they save like a car that flipped, and we get like introduced to like a new guy, a little nerdy guy who you're just like, this guy's just a loser and he's bad and he's going to be a character in the next little bit. Brainiac related? Maybe. We'll talk about that in a minute here, because this guy infects a virus into the suits of John Henry and Natalie, and that becomes like the main fighting issue for the episode. Which I will say, there are few sequences in this episode where when we see the suits moving, they look so fluid in ways I wasn't expecting them to look that fluid moving. It was very impressive. So Natalie's suit goes to attack John and Jordan. They are able to like laser it to death with like their laser vision, their heat vision, and it burns the suit. So Natalie no longer has a suit. It's a really good fight. It's very intense. Like the kids are having a nice moment, and then boom, a big robot's choking them. And then the suit that John Henry uses like consumes him and fires him at Superman. And he's just screaming like, Clark, this suit's been compromised. It's coming to kill you. You have to get it out of here. We get a really cool fight sequence in like the sky where the two of them are fighting until the suit finally like drops John Henry out of the sky and like lets him fall to his death, and Superman saves it. It looks really good. Like we've had some good looking shots. And I think like the worst that the effects can look sometimes is with these big suits, because they have the practical ones on set, so those will always look better. They don't have to put as much effort into like the scenes when they're flying, right? Looks really good. And we know it was Lex Luthor. He hired like some weird nerd to change the suits. And this leads to like the big theory everyone's been having. We have 2 episodes left, and everyone has kind of been theorizing it's going to Brainiac. That's like the last big thing they can do. There have been some hints, like this guy is a computer whiz who hacks into a suit. There is some symbolism in like what he does, where we see like skulls and tentacles and like the effects. The colors are clearly green and purple / pinkish, which to me that leads more to like the idea that we're gonna like just build Luthor the big suit, because Luthor gets John Henry's suit at the end, which is kind of like a cathartic full circle moment, because like in the first episode when that suit lands, he uses the name Alexander Luthor. Now Luthor's going to use that same suit to beat Superman. Yeah. I think if we are going to get anything in like the Brainiac adjacent story, it's going to be in like the future, because there's potentially going to be like a time jump, maybe in like the last scene of the show. We're going to see like where people end up and whatever. I think that's where we'll see Brainiac. I don't think he's going to like suddenly appear. Like if it turns out like Amanda or what is his name? Was it Milton was like the nerdy guy? If they end up being Brainiac or even Lex ends up being Brainiac, that kind of sucks. I would prefer it if it was just completely unrelated to the stuff going on with like Lex. He has Lois on the ropes. People think she's a liar and she can be discredited. Clark is slowly dying. Oh, that's the other thing. Clark is slowly dying because he has an old man's heart and it's in a Kryptonian body, so that can't keep up with what he's doing. So eventually Clark's going to give up and no longer have powers, which, yeah, obviously, like this show is about Superman and Lois. There's going to come a point where it's going to be Lois and Clark together, enjoying their old age while their sons save the world and give it a brighter tomorrow, which makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if the final moments of this episode, or of this series, I should say, depict an old Clark and an old Lois, one of them either saying goodbye to the other one, or the two of them embracing in one final act of like celebration. I like the show, okay? It's a good show, and I think this was a strong episode. Not as strong as last week's, which happens, but letting Lois literally like deal with the cancer shit and be like, all right, time to go, yell at Lex Luthor for a minute on public television. That's really cool. And the effects look good. And now we have a big suit for Luthor, who's probably going to put it on to beat up Superman or something. It's really exciting. It's really exciting that like this show could maybe like set up 4 different Supermen fighting like a Lex Luthor in a big power suit. That's something we haven't seen before. So I hope it works. I do hope it works. We are headed in a very interesting direction. Part of me thinks it's going to stick the landing, which is very rare and very scary. But that's them breaks, isn't it? I think we're going to get there. I hope so, because this show's been really fun, and I'd like it to end on a high note, which we could be getting to, which is just really cool. So that's going to do it for this week's review. Thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.